President Mohammad Shahabuddin stresses on building efficient and smart manpower to maintain the pace of development. Dr. Hassan Mahmood hands over the Asia Climate Mobility Champion Leader Award to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, conferred on her for leadership in championing the climate actions. BNP movement nosedives due to lack of people's support, with many of its leaders and activists joining healthy politics, says Obaidul Qadir. Dr. Hassan Mahmood questions if screaming and groaning of victims of arson violence reach BNP Jamaat. Nomination papers of candidates of 12th National Parliamentary Elections scrutinized for third day, which will continue till tomorrow. Israel continues heavy bombing in Gaza, killing more than 700 Palestinians during last 24 hours. And Bangladesh women team beat South Africa by 13 runs in the first of three-match T20 series in Benoni. Assalamu alaikum. Gulstan Ahmed welcoming you all to News at 10 on BTV and BTV World. Those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details of the news.
তুমি যখন শাসন করবা সোহাগ করতে শেখো, তাদের দুঃখের দিনে পাশে দাঁড়িয়েও, তাদের ভালোবেসো, কারণ তোমার হুকুমে সে জীবন দিবে। তোমাকে শ্রদ্ধা অর্জন করতে হবে। সে শ্রদ্ধা অর্জন করতে হলে তোমাকে শৃঙ্খলা শিখতে হবে, নিজকে সৎ হতে হবে, নিজকে দেশকে ভালোবাসতে হবে, মানুষকে ভালোবাসতে হবে এবং চরিত্র ঠিক রাখতে হবে। তা না হলে কোনো ভালো কাজ করা যায় না।
President Mohammad Shahabuddin has stressed on building efficient and smart manpower to maintain the pace of development in the era of globalization. The President made the remarks while addressing the graduation ceremony of National Defence Corps and Armed Forces War Course in Mirpur Cantonment this morning. The President said with the rapid expansion and development of ICT, global situation is changing very fast. President Mohammad Shahabuddin said the present government, under the efficient leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, is trying hard to build Bangladesh as Sonar Bangla envisioned by father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The President emphasized the role of military and civilian officials in fulfilling the hopes and aspirations of the nation. Congratulating the graduating officers, President Mohammad Shahabuddin hoped that they would contribute to the national development using their acquired knowledge.
Bangladesh has already gained the status of a lower middle income country and is expected to become an upper middle income country in 2031 and a high income country by 2041. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina declared Vision 2041 a milestone to transform the country as a smart Bangladesh. With the rapid expansion and development of ICT, global situation is changing very fast. In an era of globalization, efficient and smart manpower are must to maintain the peace of development. It is the prime responsibility of the government to take necessary steps to meet the hopes and aspirations of the people and the nation. The role of civil and military bureaucracy is very pertinent in this regard.
Acting Commandant of National Defence College Air Vice Marshal Muhammad Kamrul Islam delivered the welcome speech. President Mohammad Shahabuddin handed over certificates to 10 graduates of the courses at the function. The president signed the visitors' book and took part in photo sessions. The president also cut a cake on the occasion of graduation ceremony of National Defence Course and Armed Forces War Course. Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood handed over the Climate Mobility Champion Leader Award to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Prime Minister's Press Secretary Ihsan Ul-Karim said Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood handed over the Climate Mobility Champion Leader Award to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at her official residence, Gana Bhavan, this morning. Earlier, Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood and the head of Bangladesh delegation in COP28 high-level segment received the award on behalf of the Prime Minister. The award was conferred on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, acknowledging her leadership in championing the climate actions and her role as a global advocate for vulnerable communities. The Global Center for Climate Mobility, supported by IOM and the UN system, conferred the award during a high-level panel on the sidelines of COP28 in Dubai on December 1st. President of the UN General Assembly Ambassador Dennis Francis and Director General of IOM Amy Pope co-hosted the high-level panel. Awami League General Secretary Obaidul Qadir said the movement of BNP has nosedived due to lack of people's support. He said many leaders and activists are rejecting the evil politics of BNP and joining the healthy politics. Obaidul Qadir said this at a press briefing at Awami League President's political office at Dhanmondi in the capital today.
জনসমর্থনের অভাবে বিএনপির আন্দোলন মুখ থুবড়ে পড়ে সেই অবস্থায় তারা সন্ত্রাস, অগ্নিসন্ত্রাস, হিংসা, চোরাগুপ্তা হামলা, নাশকতা, স্বাভাবিক পথ থেকে বিচ্যুত হয়ে তারা রাজনীতিটাকে সন্ত্রাসের দিকে নিয়ে যাবে। চোরাগুপ্তা হামলার জন্য এখন তারা কর্মী পাচ্ছে না, তারা এখন ভাড়া করা টোকায় দিয়ে চোরাগুপ্তা হামলা চালাচ্ছে। শুধু শাহজাহান ওমর নয়, আরও অনেকে এসছেন এবং তারা বিএনপি রাজনীতি অত্যন্ত সক্রিয় ছিলেন। আজকে বিএনপি রাজনীতিকে তারা প্রত্যাখ্যান করে তারা রাজনীতির সুস্থ ধারা ফিরে আসতে শুরু করেছেন। আমরা বিশ্বাস করি সামনের দিনগুলোতে বিএনপির আরও অনেক নেতা এবং কর্মী এই অসুস্থতার আবর্ত থেকে বেরিয়ে এসে সুস্থ ধারা রাজনীতিতে ফিরে আসবে। আমি তারেক রহমানকে বলবো, রাজনীতি করতে চান, সৎসাহস থাকলে আসুন রাজপথে মোকাবিলা।
Awami League General Secretary said 28 out of 44 registered political parties are taking part in the election. He said Awami League will welcome the Jatiya Party if it can compete in the polls on its own capacity.
জাতীয় পার্টি তারা যে নিজেদের শক্তির উপর দাঁড়িয়ে ইলেকশনটা করেন, এই মুহূর্তে এটাই হবে তাদের জন্য সবচেয়ে ভালো খবর। সত্যিকারের অপোজিশন হিসাবে নিজেদেরকে দাঁড় করানোর একটা মোক্ষম উপায়, এবং তারা যদি নিজেরাই ইলেকশন করতে পারে এটা আমরা স্বাগত জানাই। মানুষ চায় না এমন কেউ জোট থেকে নাম দিলে আমরা তো তাকে সমর্থন করতে পারবো না। তবে যারা জোটের লিডার, যারা ইলেক্টেবল, যারা আগেও নির্বাচন করেছেন, বিজয়ী হয়েছেন, এরকম জনগণের কাছে গ্রহণযোগ্য নেতারা অবশ্যই বাদ পড়বেন না। এখানে তালিকা কোনো প্রশ্ন নয়। জোট আমরা করব, কিন্তু জোটের নেতাদেরও এটা বুঝতে হবে যে নির্বাচনে বাস্তবতা আছে, সিট অ্যালোকেশনের ডিস্ট্রিবিউশনেরও বাস্তবতা আছে। এটা তারা আগেও জানেন, এখনও জানেন। সেই সব বিবেচনা করে যথাসময়ে সিদ্ধান্ত। আমরা কি দলের পক্ষ থেকে বলেছি যারা স্বতন্ত্র ইলেকশন করবেন তাদেরকে দল থেকে বহিষ্কার করা হবে। তো এই সিদ্ধান্ত আওয়ামী লীগের নয়। আজকে সরকারি কর্মচারীদের কর্মকর্তাদের ট্রান্সফার এগুলো কিন্তু আওয়ামী লীগ করছে না, প্রধানমন্ত্রী করছেন না, এগুলো সবই নির্বাচন কমিশন। ওসিদের ট্রান্সফার, ইউএনও ট্রান্সফার, ডিসিকে ট্রান্সফার করা, এই কাজগুলো এখন আর সরকারের দায়িত্ব নয়। ইলেকশন কমিশন কন্ডাক্টিং দি ইলেকশন, এবং তারাই এইসব বিষয় নিয়ন্ত্রণ করবে, নিয়ন্ত্রণ করছে। আমাদের এখানে কোনো ওজোর আপত্তি বলতে কিছু। ইউএনের সিকিউরিটি কাউন্সিল, জেনারেল অ্যাসেম্বলি, এই দুটার ম্যান্ডেট ছাড়া তারা কোনো দেশের ব্যাপারে, অভ্যন্তরীণ ব্যাপারে কোনো কথা বলার নজির আমরা পাই না।
Information and Broadcasting Minister and Awami League Joint General Secretary Dr. Hassan Mahmood questioned if the screams and groaning of the victims of arson violence reach BNP Jamaat. He said arson violence will stop if the arsonists, their masters and financiers are brought to justice. Dr. Hassan Mahmood said this at a gathering at the Central Shahid Minar in the capital, demanding punishment of culprits involved in arson violence. An organization named Ogni Shantrasher Artonad organized it.
13-14-15 সালে আগুন সন্ত্রাস চালিয়েছিল খালেদা জিয়ার নেতৃত্বে, আর এখন আগুন সন্ত্রাস হচ্ছে তারেক জিয়ার নেতৃত্বে। একটি রাজনৈতিক দল চোরাগোপ্তা হামলা করে, অবরোধ ডাকে আর ঘুমিয়ে থাকে ঘরের মধ্যে। তাদের কিছু কিছু কর্মীকে নামিয়ে দেয়, সন্ত্রাসী কর্মীকে, আর কিছু মানুষকে ভাড়া করে পেট্রোল বোমা তুলে দিয়ে তারা গাড়িতে এখন আগুন দিচ্ছে। এটি কোনো রাজনৈতিক দলের কর্মসূচি হতে পারে না। পৃথিবীর কোথাও গত 2 দশকে রাজনীতির জন্য এইভাবে আগুন সন্ত্রাস, মানুষকে পুড়িয়ে মারা, সেটি ঘটে নাই, যেটি বাংলাদেশে বিএনপি জামাত করছে। মানুষ পুড়িয়ে মারার রাজনীতি যারা করে তারা দেশ, জাতি, সমাজের শত্রু। এই শত্রুদের প্রতিহত করতে হবে। এবং আমি ব্যক্তিগতভাবে মনে করি এই সন্ত্রাসের মূল উৎপাটন যদি করা না যায়, এই সন্ত্রাস তারা আরো চালাবে। মূল উৎপাটন করতে হলে তাদের অর্থদাতা, মদতদাতা, হুকুমদাতাদের ধরতে হবে, তাদের বিচার করতে হবে। বিএনপি জামাতের কাছে আমার প্রশ্ন, এই মানুষের আর্তনাদ কি আপনাদের কানে পৌঁছায় না? আমরা আশা করেছিলাম আপনাদের খাসলত বদলাবে, কিন্তু আপনাদের খাসলত বদলায় নাই। আপনারা আবার 13-14-15 সালের সেই পুরনো আগুন সন্ত্রাস শুরু করেছেন। আসলে কয়লা ধুলে ময়লা যায় না, কুকুরের লেজ যেমন কখনো সোজা হয় না, বিএনপি জামাতও কখনো ভালো হবে না। সুতরাং এদেরকে নির্মূল করতে হবে, এদেরকে প্রতিহত করতে হবে। গত 1 মাসে 580টা গাড়িতে আগুন দিয়েছে, বেশ কয়েকজন ড্রাইভার নিহত হয়েছে, জীবন্ত পুড়িয়ে হত্যা করেছে। এটা কোন রাজনীতি? বিএনপি জামাতের কাছে প্রশ্ন। আর এই সমস্ত কিছু পরিচালিত হচ্ছে তারেক রহমানের নির্দেশে আর বিএনপি নেতাদের নির্দেশে। সুতরাং তারাও দোষী, তাদেরকেও এই অগ্নিসন্ত্রাসের যারা শিকার, তাদের আর্তনাদ দাবি অনুযায়ী তাদেরকেও বিচারের আওতায় আনতে হবে।
Speaking on the occasion, Runi Begum, mother of bus passenger Nahid and who died in petrol bomb attack by BNP Jamaat, demanded punishment of the culprits. Other victims of arson violence also demanded exemplary punishment of the culprits.
আপনারা একবার চিন্তা করেন, যারা আমাদেরকে মারে আবার বলে আপনারা আমাকে ভোট দেন, তাদের কঠিন বিচার হোক, এবং কি তাদের না, তাদের যারা হুকুমদাতা তাদেরও বিচার চাই এবং আমরা ফাঁসি চাই।
আমার সন্তানরা দেখার সুযোগও দেয় নাই জামাত ইসলামরা, বিএনপিরা। আমার সন্তান কি অপরাধ করছে? আমার সন্তান তো সাধারণ জনগণ, আমি সাধারণ মানুষ, আমরা খাইটা খাই। আমার হে সন্তান জ্যাকেট কিনতে আসছিল ঢাকা শহরে, হে সন্তানে উড়াইয়া মারা হলো কেন? আমার স্বামীর আর্তনাদ এখনো কানে বাজে, কেন বেরো না কেন, বেরো না কেন। সে বাসে আমি থেকে বের হয়ে বেঁচে এসেছি, কিন্তু মৃত্যু যন্ত্রণা সে বুকে নিয়ে আমি এখনো জীবন্ত লাশ হয়ে বেঁচে আছি। আমার একটা সন্তান আছে, ছেলে আছে সেই ছেলেকে বুকে আঁকড়ে ধরে বেঁচে আছে, বেঁচে থাকার স্বপ্ন দেখছে ছেলেটাকে ভালোভাবে মানুষ করার জন্য, সন্তান হারা স্বামী হারার কষ্ট বুকে চেপে নিয়ে একে কে বেঁচে থাকা বলে?
Convener of Ogni Santrasher Artanat, Shahadat Hossain Babul, presided over the function. It was addressed among others by Advocate Khudeza Nasrin Akhtar Hussain MP, Justice Shamsuddin Chaudhry Manik, former Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University Dr. Akhtaruzzaman, Awami League Executive Council member Anwar Hussain, and General Secretary of Jatiyo Press Club Shamul Dotto. The nomination papers of the contenders of the 12th parliamentary election were scrutinized for third day today, which will continue till tomorrow. After scrutiny, the Election Commission cancelled a good number of nomination papers on different grounds. This year, as many as 2,712 aspirants submitted nomination papers against 300 seats. Of them, 1,966 are nominated by political parties, while 747 were independents. Returning officers scrutinize the nomination papers. Candidates will be able to appeal against the decisions of returning officers, and appeals will be settled between December 5 and 15. From now on, if a political party wants to hold a rally, they'll have to get permission from the Election Commission. If any application is submitted, the Election Commission will decide in its regard as per the Electoral Code of Conduct. Additional Secretary of Election Commission Ashok Kumar Debnath said this while briefing journalists after a meeting with the EU election expert team today. The 4-member European Union election expert team met the Election Commission delegation in the morning ahead of the next parliamentary elections. Ashok Kumar Debnath said European Union election expert team have been informed about various issues, including the number of participating parties and candidates. He also said the expert team will observe the pre- and post-election situation until January 23rd. Although the BNP and some like-minded parties won't participate in the vote, the Jatiyo Party and other parties are taking part in the forthcoming national election. A festive mood has already been created in the country's political arena centering the polls. The country's people think the next parliamentary elections will be held in a festive mood with the participation of multiple candidates in every constituency. They said people will cast their votes in the polls spontaneously. For this, the Election Commission will have to create a congenial atmosphere. Talking to BTV, countrymen called upon the Election Commission to hold the election in a free, fair and neutral manner, which the Election Commission has promised. They also expect a violence-free and peaceful election. Now moving on to international news. More than 700 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza during the last 24 hours. Israel and Hamas returned to fight following the collapse of talks on extension of truce. Reports say Israeli airstrikes found targets in Gaza and Palestinian groups launched volleys of rockets. In Israel, the military's Home Front Command reported 40 missile alerts in the south and center of the country, and the Palestinian group Hamas and Islamic Jihad announced rocket barrages against multiple Israeli cities and towns, including Tel Aviv. According to the United Nations, an estimated 1.7 million people in Gaza, more than two-thirds of the population, have been displaced by 8 weeks of war. The population is in short of food, water and other essentials, and many homes have been destroyed. UN agencies have declared a humanitarian catastrophe, although some aid trucks did arrive Saturday. At least 15,500 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7. In Israel, the official death toll stands about 1,200. United States will contribute $3 billion to a global climate fund, its first pledge to it since 2014. Today, we are demonstrating through action how the world can and must meet this crisis, Harris told the climate summit in Dubai. The new money, which must be approved by the U.S. Congress, will go into the Green Climate Fund, GCF, which was created in 2010. The last U.S. contribution to the Fund for Developing Countries was made under the President Barack Obama, who committed $3 billion in 2014. U.S. President Joe Biden sent Harris to his place in COP28. Prior to the U.S. announcement, $13.5 billion had been pledged to the GCF. Reports say nearly 120 nations pledged to triple the world's renewable energy within 7 years at UN climate talks Saturday as the United States pushed to crank up nuclear capacity and slash methane emissions. With smog skies in Dubai highlighting the challenges facing the world, leaders at the COP28 conference threw their support behind voluntary pledges aimed at ramping up alternatives to fossil fuels. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, a staunch ally to Moscow, is visiting China to meet his counterpart Li Jinping. The Belarusian presidency said on Monday he will hold talks with Xi on issues including trade, the economy, investment and international cooperation, the president said in a statement. Lukashenko was last in China at the end of February and early March, a visit that was closely scrutinized in the context of Russia's offense in Ukraine. The Russian offense was not mentioned in the Belarusian statement on the visit. Belarus borders both Ukraine and Russia, countries it is highly dependent on both financially and politically. India's governing right-wing Bharatiya Janata Party BJP is leading in 3 of 4 states in key regional polls, indicating a big boost to Prime Minister Narendra Modi ahead of the general elections slated to be held within 6 months. The heartland states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, southern state of Telangana and northeastern Mizoram state voted last month in the provincial elections. Vote counting began in 4 of the 5 states on Sunday morning, while counting in Mizoram is expected on Monday. At midday on Sunday, the BJP was leading in all 3 heartland states, which sent 62 members to parliament. Trends from the counting of votes showed on TV channels. Final results are expected by the end of the day. The election results of the 5 states are expected to indicate voter mood ahead of the national elections in May, in which Modi is eyeing a 3rd consecutive term. A powerful earthquake that shook the southern Philippines has killed at least 1 person as thousands were ordered to evacuate, including in Japan, after tsunami warnings that were later lifted. The powerful magnitude 7.6 quake struck off the coast of Mindanao Island at a depth of 32 km and was followed by 4 major aftershocks of magnitudes exceeding 6.0 over several hours into Sunday. The U.S. Geological Service said the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, however, put the quake's magnitude at 7.5. The initial quake triggered tsunami warnings across the Pacific regions and sent residents along the east coast of Mindanao fleeing buildings, evacuating a hospital and seeking higher ground. And now some international news in brief. French President Emmanuel Macron appealed Saturday for intensifying efforts to reach a lasting ceasefire in Gaza. He made the appeal at a news conference on the sidelines of the UN's COP28 climate talks in Dubai. The office operating North Korea's newly launched spy satellite will run as a military intelligence organization. It warned that any attack on its space asset would be considered a declaration of war. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, currently in jail, facing what he says more than 150 cases filed to keep him from contesting elections next year, has been replaced by barrister Gohar Ali Khan as head of the party he founded, officials say. A German tourist has been killed and 2 other people wounded in a knife attack close to the iconic Eiffel Tower in central Paris, according to the French Interior Minister. Around 760 flights were cancelled at Munich airport on Saturday due to heavy snowfall, an airport spokesperson said. And now, some other national news. The nationwide blockade called by BNP Jamaat had no impact on people's life as the traffic congestion was usual on the streets in the capital today. All types of public transports, including bus, private cars, rickshaws and auto rickshaws, were seen plying on streets since the morning. Besides, covered vans and pickup vans also plied on streets. People also went to their working places like any other day. Besides, shops, business organizations and retail shops remained open. BNP Jamaat men torched 2 passenger buses in the capital's Shere Banganagar and Gaptoli areas within 9 minutes yesterday night during the 2-day blockade enforced by BNP Jamaat. Fire service sources said miscreants set fire to a bus of Bhuiya Poribohon in front of Bangladesh Beta Bhavan around 11 p.m. Acting on information, firefighters rushed to the spot and doused the blaze. On the other hand, BNP Jamaat activists torched a passenger bus of Podda Line Poribohon in Gaptoli 9 minutes after Shere Banglanagar incident. The fire service extinguished the fire in a hurry. A driver and his helper of a truck has sustained burn injuries after their truck was set on fire by miscreants at Gajipur's Kaliakoir Upazila this morning. Police said miscreants threw petrol bombs at the Tangal-bound truck under the Golbathan Latifpur footover bridge. Acting on information, police, highway police and fire service brought the blaze under control. The injured were taken to Kaliakoir Upazila Health Complex and later the driver shifted to Dhaka Medical College Hospital. In 2 other separate incidents, BNP Jamaat activists torched 2 trucks in the Mohadevpur Upazila on Nauga and Kaharul Upazila in Dinajpur early today. Meanwhile, miscreants set fire to the Awami League office in Bhabaniganj area in Nator town early today. The fire damaged some valuables in the office. On information, firefighters doused the fire. Bangladesh has won in Category C in the International Maritime Organization IMO Executive Council's election. State Minister for Shipping Khalid Mahmood Chaudhry called this now the big achievement for Bangladesh in the month of victory. He said this while talking to the reporters at a press conference at the Secretariat today. A total of 25 countries contested in Category C in the Council election. Bangladesh won the election by securing 128 votes out of 168 valid votes.
কাউন্সিলে আমাদের প্রতিনিধি না থাকার কারণে আমরা উত্থাপন করতে পারি না আমাদের বিষয়গুলো, তখন কিন্তু এগুলো আমরা কিন্তু মানতে বাধ্য হই, তখন কিন্তু আমরা আরো দূরে চলে যাই। আমাদের এবং আমাদের মতো দেশের কথাগুলো আমরা আইএমএফ ফ্লোরে এখন জোরালোভাবে আমরা বলতে পারবো। আমাদের সেই শক্তিটা এখন এই জায়গাটায় তৈরি হলো।
Dengue situation is not in improving trend in Bangladesh as 3 died during the last 24 hours. A press release of the Director General of Health Services said among the dead, 2 were in Dhaka and 1 were outside Dhaka. 742 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 156 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 586 patients outside Dhaka. And now weather news. The deep depression over Southwest Bay and adjoining area moved northwestwards, intensified into a cyclonic storm, Mishuang, and now lies over the same area. It is likely to move northwestwards and intensify further. Maritime ports of Chattogram, Cox's Bazar, Mongla and Paira have been advised to keep hoisted distant warning signal number 2. I repeat, distant warning signal number 2. All fishing boat and trawler over North Bay and Deep Sea have been advised to remain close to the coast and proceed with caution till further notice. Meanwhile, Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said weather may remain dry with temporary partly cloudy sky over the country. Light fog may occur at places over northern part and the river basins of the country during late night till morning. And now news on sports. Bangladesh women team beat South Africa by 13 runs in the first T20 of 3-match series in Benoni. Earlier, winning the toss and batting first, Bangladesh girls scored 149 runs and 2 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Murshida Khatun scored an unbeaten 62 runs for the team. In reply, South Africa managed to score 136 runs for 8 wickets in their stipulated 20 overs. Australia are now batting against India to chase the victory target of 161 runs in the fifth and last T20 of 5-match series in Bengaluru. Australia scored 101 runs for 3 wickets in 13 overs when report last came in. Earlier, India batted first and scored 160 runs over 8 in their stipulated 20 overs. And now to end the bulletin, the headlines once again. President Mohammad Shahabuddin stresses on building efficient and smart manpower to maintain the pace of development. Dr. Hassan Mahmood hands over the Asia Climate Mobility Champion Leader Award to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, conferred on her for leadership in championing the climate actions. BNP movement nosedives due to lack of people's support, with many of its leaders and activists joining healthy politics, says Obadul Qadir. Dr. Hassan Mahmood questions if screaming and groaning of victims of arson violence reach BNP Jamaat. Nomination papers of candidates of 12th National Parliamentary Elections scrutinized for a third day, which will continue till tomorrow. Israel continues heavy bombing in Gaza, killing more than 700 Palestinians during last 24 hours. And Bangladesh women team beat South Africa by 13 runs in the first of the 3-match T20 series in Benoni. That's all from the newsroom at the moment. Thank you for staying with us. And